A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News. My name is Sam Kalisa. Kicking it off tonight, on Monday, President Paul Kagame received the Indian Minister of State for External Affairs and Parliamentary Affairs, who is in Rwanda, for the Rwanda-India Joint Commission Meeting aimed at strengthening bilateral commission between the two countries.
The Indian Minister of State for External Affairs and Parliamentary Affairs was received by President Paul Kagame at Village Urugwiro on Monday afternoon. Earlier during the day, the Indian Minister of State and his delegation had met Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, together with a number of other government officials, for the first session of the Rwanda-India Joint Commission Meeting, and the two sides committed to take their relations to the new heights of both at bilateral and multilateral levels.
The Republic of Rwanda and the Republic of India have enjoyed many years of close relations at both bilateral and multilateral levels. Our two delegations have always collaborated in various ways at different levels. I wish to seize this unique opportunity to reiterate my country's appreciation of your friendship and support in different sectors. In addition to today's resolutions, it is worth recalling the resolution jointly adopted through bilateral and multilateral frameworks, as we commit to work together towards strengthening and expanding a long-lasting dynamic partnership and achieve maximum benefits of bilateral cooperation.
Rwandan Foreign Affairs Minister also took the opportunity to call attention to important upcoming steps in the progression of the bilateral relations between the two countries and events that will help shape the futures of both Rwanda and India.
With a view to fast-track our country's development, I wish to highlight my country's readiness to work with you to finalize and sign the pending agreements, including the double taxation avoidance agreement, the repurposing of the 66.6 million line of credit for projects in energy sector, the MOU for participation in the technology upgradation on Pan-Africa tele-education and telemedicine, and MOUs for cooperation in the field of tourism development and promotion, science and technology, law and justice. Rwanda is looking forward to welcoming the military delegation of the Republic of India to the first Joint Defense Cooperation Meeting to be held in Kigali, which will forge deeper the defense cooperation. As we continue to consult with each other and other concerned partners regarding the new dates for the upcoming Commonwealth Heads of State and Government meeting, I count on the participation of the Government of the Republic of India at the highest level and the contributions to the preparation of a successful event as we continue to pursue our shared interests as the Commonwealth of Nations.
The head of the Indian delegation also used the opportunity of the meeting to extend an invitation to the government of Rwanda and commended the country for hosting the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting next year.
Let me take this opportunity to invite you to India for the next meeting of the Joint Commission, the dates for which can be decided through our diplomatic channels. I congratulate Rwanda for its Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting presidency and looking forward to the early holding of CHOGM next year. My deep appreciation for Rwanda for taking efforts to hold this first session of Joint Commission meeting in Kigali between the two countries, though it has had to be postponed twice due to the unfortunate circumstances of the COVID pandemic.
This Rwanda-India Joint Commission meeting comes following the historic visit to Rwanda by the Indian Prime Minister back in 2018. Derek Muhanji reporting for RTV.
Rwanda's Prime Minister Dr. Edouard Ngirente has observed that trade between African nations can be greatly boosted through technology. The Prime Minister made the observation while addressing delegates at the ongoing 2021 Intra-African Trade Fair taking place in South Africa, where he is attending on behalf of President Paul Kagame. Derek Muhanji continues.
During the discussions, the Prime Minister called for a united African front in efforts to boost the continent's private sector and build up the sort of education sector designed to address the issues Africa has continued to struggle with.
Developing an innovative manufacturing ecosystem in Africa is important to increase economic competitiveness and production. However, to attain the full potential of our manufacturing sector is closely linked with improving our education systems at all levels, from pre-primary, primary, secondary, technical and vocational trainings, and higher education. Matching education with labor market demand will provide the required skills to Africa's young population along the key value chains of our industries and trade for global competitiveness.
The implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area was also discussed, and it was pointed out that its success must start at its grassroots levels and be inclusive, not excluding groups like the youth and the women.
Implementation of the AfCFTA will not succeed without the private sector, without small medium enterprises, without young entrepreneurs. We did not negotiate this agreement for trade people like me or for governments. It was negotiated precisely to create opportunities for young Africans, for entrepreneurs, for small medium enterprises that are led by women.
It was also observed that the COVID-19 pandemic has shown the importance of including technology in Africa's intra-trade system.
COVID-19 pandemic has also emphasized the need to leverage the use of technology in facilitating the movement of goods. Excellencies, in Rwanda, recovery efforts are in line with our medium to long-term development strategy. We aim at becoming a competitive country in various sectors, and this will be supported by skilled labor force, innovation, research, quality infrastructure, and a conducive doing business environment.
The 2021 Intra-African Trade Fair will continue for another 6 days. That has also attached more than 1,000 exhibitors from across the continent. The first day of discussions also featured top-level state and government officials from other countries that included Malawi and Zimbabwe. The International Monetary Fund is projecting that Africa's economy will grow by 3.4% this year, up from 2.1% in 2020 and as much as 4.6% next year. Derek Mhanji reporting for RwandaTV.
Thank you, Derek, for the report. Moving ahead, the government of Rwanda has started activities to help the eastern province of Rwanda residents in facing the effects of climate change in the agriculture sector. And as Ghislaine Mugwaneza reports, the residents have welcomed this initiative.
On the shores of North Lake Chohoha in Marira sector in Bugesera district, residents are irrigating crops. They have expressed their gratitude on how the government has found a solution during the dry season. It shows that our government is our parent. It thinks about us and it is always near to us.
Nobody can mislead us basing on the dry season we are in, and the country has a perfect plan to support the residents in their progress.
Small-scale irrigation is one of the special activities that aim at dealing with climate change effects that the government of Rwanda started in Eastern Province this Monday. The Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Geraldine Mcheshimana, has pointed out that not all areas in the country are affected the same when it comes to climate change. The climate change in one side of the country is not in the entire country. It means that on the country level, the production is not shaken that much. That is one. The second thing, the government of Rwanda is there for its residents. As I have said, we work with local authorities to know how the residents are living so that we manage to offer any support needed. It's not for the first time that the government has helped residents when there is shortage of food. That is to say that if there is any assistance needed in provision of food, the country is always ready to help. 1.2 billion Rwandan francs were spent on these activities that aim at assisting residents in tackling climate change effects. This money was added to 1 billion Rwandan francs budget that was given to the Eastern Province, where it was expected that this year there will be low rainfall in this province. It is expected that in this program, 450 hectares on 162 sites in 7 districts of Eastern Province will be irrigated. Feminine season that occurred in Rwanda district made the residents to shift. Since then, the government have put more effort in planting trees and irrigation, which seem to serve a sustainable solution. Ghislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Thank you, Ghislaine. Staying on the issue, our colleague Jean-Pierre Kagame sat down with the Minister of Trade and Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, for a brief interview, and she elaborated on this matter.
The Eastern Province is experiencing less rain than the usual rains. The predictions have been showing that. That's why we keep mobilizing people to irrigate crops. As we speak, most of the irrigated areas are planted with the crops, and the crops that are being affected are the ones that are planted outside of irrigation schemes. So we wanted to keep mobilizing farmers that those crops, again, that are close to water sources, though they may not be into the irrigation schemes per se, but they are close to at the proximity of water areas. It's important that they use the small-scale irrigation technologies to irrigate those crops and save them from drought. There are many interventions that are taking place. They have been taking place for a while, but the area keeps expanding as the time goes because of the shortage of rains. So we have a package that is assisting the communities with tools for irrigation, that are assisting technologies to access to planting materials that can withstand the shortage of water. We have other assistance for the livestock owners, because once the shortage of water is there, also the livestock, we experience the shortage of water. So there are provisions that can help livestock owners to source water and make sure that they can be provided to livestock. And there are provisions to support communities that can be affected by shortage of food. So we don't do one thing. We implement many things within the package to make sure that whoever is not supported by one intervention can benefit from the other. Yeah. We, as I said, majority of irrigated schemes are located into the Eastern Province. So this is the home of rice. This is the home of maize that comes from irrigated areas. This is the home of soybeans and beans. But also, when you look at the climate change situation in the country gets divided into one area that is heavily having rainfalls, and others that are getting limited rain. So what we ask for those that are located into irrigated areas or areas that are not affected by shortage of rain is that to apply the crop intensification technologies to make sure that we are harvesting sufficient foods into those areas so that can go to areas that are being affected. But we hope that things are not getting worse.
Now from agriculture to education matters. While announcing secondary school results for teacher training colleges and TVET schools, the Ministry of Education revealed that in this academic year, the percentage of students who passed exams reduced compared to the previous year. We do have more.
Senjumva Theogen, a student at TTC Muhanga, topped the list of best performers in TTC schools, while Umuhoza Gatete Kenya from Gashora Girls Academy came in second, while Mugisha De Merci ranked first countrywide in technical and vocational training schools. I used to read textbooks and other notes from other schools, plus consulting the internet to get what can help me in my studies. As I put in a lot of efforts in secondary school, I'll do the same for university and pass well. Aline Muhongerwa and Kwitonda Geral are some of the parents who accompanied their children who passed excellently. They noted that they supported their children from the beginning.
It requires giving them time, being close to them and working with them day in and day out. Working with the school administrations, but most importantly, being available to always witness every step they make in life.
I'm very happy. It just happened exactly the way I wanted it to be. When he started school, I wanted him to be very bright, and that's what happened, although I wasn't expecting him to be the first countrywide. The Minister of Education, Dr. Valentin Uwamaria, reiterated that in the general education level, there has been a 4.2% decline in performance compared to the previous year, but elsewhere, the performance rates increased.
In the general education category, there was a decline, as last year it was 89.5%, but this year it is 85.3%. But for TTC, the performance rate increased from 89.2% in 2019 to 99.9% this year. In TVET schools, it increased from 91.2% in 2019 to 95.7% this year. There was an increase in performance rate in TTC and TVET schools, but there was a decline in general education. That was our observation.
47,399 students sat for secondary school exams and 40,335 passed, accounting for 85.3%. In TVET schools, 22,523 students sat for exams and 21,544 passed, representing 95.7%, whereas in TTC schools, 2,988 students sat for exams and 2,980 passed, accounting for 99.9%. The Ministry of Education announced that the pass mark in secondary and vocational schools is 73%, while for TTC, the pass mark is 40%. The ministry also noted that out of 72,910 candidates who sat for national exams, about 7,727 did not get the pass mark, thus eligible for diploma certificates.
On behalf of the entire news production team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name stays Sam Kalisa, wishing you a safe evening and a fruitful week ahead.